When I first heard New York City Relief, I was about 17, 18. I was a senior in high school. I grew up in California, so I had gone to church. I'd done the, going to church and being in ministry and doing all that fun stuff. But as I got older, I realized I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life at that point. 17 or 18, I didn't have a desire to go to college and have a big career set plan. And one Sunday, my pastor told me that he was good friends with Juan Galloway. So he came to my church and started talking about New York City Relief. And little did I know, our church actually sponsored him as a missionary. And it was my first time I heard about the bus and what you guys are doing out there in Jersey. And felt like God kind of prompted me. It was go get an application, just go see, just go check it out. And I went to Juan and I asked him, I'm really interested in your internship. So he gave me an application and I took it home and I kind of just let it sit in my room for a while. And at this point I was still kind of in between. I was doing the ministry and I didn't really have a relationship with God. Before then we had a nice little interview on the phone with Bill Halfman. And
that must have been really scary.
It was frightening. The whole thing of what they expect from interns and what it's like there, and I was like, cool, I can do that, no problem. Yeah, cool, all right. Sounded amazing. I felt like there was just something, I felt really connected, like family, just even over the phone with somebody I'd never met in person. I remember getting an acceptance letter saying that I was accepted in New York City Relief. And up until that point, the time of me going out there and getting ready, I was saving money, I was working and doing all that stuff. And Bill kept connecting with me. Up until that point, I had just been searching for the, courage to do and make the decision, to finally make the decision, because I kind of just thought it was a nice idea. Good time you sent me a Misty Edwards CD and her testimony. And that message of impact and that her heart was always beating for impact, and she felt like she was wasting time, and the internal clock that was her life, and that's what I felt. So Misty Edwards preachings just tear me up. So finally time came and I got on a plane and I headed over to Elizabeth, New Jersey. And I didn't know anybody. Dixie shows up with a New York City Relief hat, says, get in the car, we're going. And that's where it really took off for me. Frightened and excited and anxious and really in denial of everything I was carrying at the time. A lot of what I felt was me and what I identified with, and a lot of labels that I had carried with me from that point. And a lot of my background and growing up was starting to really come to surface the moment I stepped into that environment, just this real transparent environment that I was in with the team. I started going out on the bus. I started what I thought was helping everyone else, serving and doing what, us Christians do. And literally being totally changed and transformed. But still had a big fight in me. I was always very bold and stubborn. I'll never forget this moment. Just one experience of many where I was in Harlem, and there was a girl on the bus, and she was under something, under the influence of something, and I remember just feeling really pulled to her, and I went over and talked to her, and she said it was her birthday. She had no shoes on. She was kind of a little tattered, and so I let her come in the bus. I let her lay down, take a nap. She looked like she hadn't slept in like months, and God was like, go buy her some shoes. And so I was like, okay, cool, I'll go buy some shoes. I bought her a shirt, and started cleaning her up, and he says, I need you to wash her feet. And at this point, because I was so fresh and new to what I thought was me serving them and trying to help them, little did I know, she helped me and healed me at that very moment. And I got down and started washing her feet, and I just realized that you are not here for any other reason other than to embrace the very heart of God. In my heart is the homeless, and my heart is the brokenness of their lives and yours. And I thought I had it all together, and I just remember washing your feet and feeling so humbled that God had brought me here somewhere I had no clue about, and I know that that was his plan. And I thought, here I am trying to serve and be a good person, and little did I know that God had brought me there so they can heal me, and just along with other beggars, just eating, breaking bread with my family on the street. And that was the real moment that I had where I was like, okay, I gotta quit fighting. Kept meeting up with Bill and having a lot of interviews and talks, and tearing me apart. He would look at me and be like, how are you doing? I'd be like, oh, I'm great, bye. Little did I know all the things that were just happening inside my heart, just a lot of things coming to surface, my own selfishness, my own pride, who I thought I was, all my labels that I had like really took as my identity. And all those were just coming like crashing down, and I was just trying to hold it up as much as I possibly could. He sat me down and said, you know what, look, you're either, if you come back and you're gonna go for it all. And I sat there thinking like, whoa, if I come back. Because at that point I hadn't been there. I was there, but I wasn't there. I was there, but I had my own motive. I was just kind of like, he's like, if you come back, it's all or nothing. Like, you're gonna give it all, or it's gonna be nothing. You're gonna die. And I went home.
Came back to California, all fixed up,
Oh yeah.
ready to go,
All renewed.
and then
And then I got involved in a really toxic relationship. Got mixed up with a lot of wrong people again. Because it was my comfort zone. It was where I grew up. That was my home. And you know, all the known faces and common faces. And I ended up hitting a very low point, extreme low point, where I was just completely drained and emptied and broken. And I would talk to Bill, and I remember just not being able to look at you straight in the face, even in the camera, because I had lost my identity in being that child and that love. I had felt so unloved and so unworthy, and I felt that point that it was either if I stay, I'm gonna die. I can't be here no more, and if I stay, I'm gonna die. This is it. And I packed up once again, broken and completely more devastated than I was the first time coming in. We had a detox. I went back, and I remember it was the worst first 2-3 months of my life. Completely detoxing. I slept for the most I've ever slept in my life at that point. I was happy to be there, and I was happy to see everyone, but I just completely shut down. I go downstairs, and we sat down, and I just remember just being angry, and I don't know what I was angry about. I was tired, and I was angry, and I sat there, and I was gonna get up and go back to bed because I wanted to say hi to everyone and then just leave. And I remember I was gonna go to sleep, and I was gonna give you a hug goodnight, and then just something in me was just not letting you hug me. It just felt very rejected and very unworthy. And he just said, hug me like you mean it. I was like, I am. Like, this is all I got. And in that moment, you said, no, hug me. And literally just felt God's love just embrace me. It was nothing I had done to that point ever didn't deserve his love. It was one of those moments that I just broke down every wall in my heart. And that was the hug that just tore me up. And then from that point, God just started to rebuild what had been destroyed, you know, and redeem a lot of what I had thought I lost. So about 3 months in, I had gotten saved. For first time I feel ever really accepted the gospel as my identity. I met a friend who had mutual friend, Dylan. He began to just speak life into me again. It started restoring that trust I had lost in men. Started restoring that in my heart, and that trust. And he quickly, we dated, 3 months? And we got engaged, and God was just like, this is him. This is it. This is what I made you. This is who I made you for. This is who I made for you. We got married 7 months later. So now I am married to my best friend, one who God truly did make for me. We're living a crazy, wild life in the gospel of Christ crucified and him inside me. And just the joy, just the pure joy now of there's no more fear of falling into myself.
The important things that you learned would be like maybe accountability?
Yes, accountability. Let people in, let them in. Like that whole family I have at New York City Relief are all appointed by God. All there in my life for a reason. And just staying accountable, staying always accountable, opening your heart, even if it's ugly and you don't think it's even right to share, you don't want people to look at you different. That community and that love that I received changed me, and that being transparent in your feelings and your death of your feelings, and it's all needed to grow and all needed to die.
Feeling safe in that environment?
Yes.
Once we learn to trust?
Yes. And love, being able to accept the love in order to give the love. He first loved me and chased after me. Whether I saw him or not, whether it was rebel or not, he was forever chasing me. And just an endless pursuit. Yeah, in October I will be doing the Irish School Ministry, and I'll be out there for 3 months, going to Rica Rica, the bush. And once again, just being completely wrecked.
So like in Isaiah 58, it says, feed the hungry, clothe the naked, provide the wanderer shelter, and your light will rise in the darkness. Your gloom will be as the midday. The Lord will continually guide you. And I guess that's what's happened in your life.
It's the promise.
So you think you'd recommend people to come do an internship with New York City
gosh.
Relief?
You're crazy. Yes.